And welcome back to Newsmax Now. It's time now to look at your health radar. If you haven't had a glass of OJ today, you might want to after this. Researchers in the UK say a glass each day could improve brain function. Meanwhile, some say a popular drink for babies could help adults beat hangovers. According to the New York Post, adult usage of Pedialyte has grown nearly 60% since 2012. Young adults may have bigger problems than just hangovers. The World Health Organization says over 1 billion people ranging from 12 to 35 years old are at risk of facing hearing loss. The reason? Earbuds, those small little earphones that we plug right into our ears. Well, the WHO says nearly half of all young people are exposed to unsafe sound levels. Graduation season is in full swing, and that means you don't want to get sick this summer. It's called the July effect. That's when med students become interns and quickly move up the ladder. Studies show that as a result, hospital deaths increased by as much as 34%. And over in England, this phenomenon is called the August killing season. A new study suggests that getting knocked out could be linked to brain damage in NFL players. That's because concussions that lead to a loss of consciousness cause parts of the brain to shrink. The NFL says it will test this hypothesis to learn more about concussions.
All right, thanks a lot, Miranda. Right now we're going to be joined by Nick Tate, Deputy Health Editor at Newsmax.com, and he's going to talk to us about brain injuries in the NFL and a new treatment that has been used by Broadway Joe, one of the biggest stars out there in the game. Nick, it's good to have you with us.
Good to be here, John.
All right, so tell us about this study first that the NFL has just released.
Well, there's been in the last couple of years, there's been a number of studies that have come out linking traumatic brain injury to everything from dementia to Alzheimer's, depression, even violent tendencies in some cases. The latest looked at about 28 NFL players, former players, and found that they had not only brain damage, but they had shrinkage in areas of the brain that are tied to memory and memory function. So the implication is that there is a growing body of evidence that, but without a shadow of a doubt, these brain injuries that football players and other people suffer can cause problems down the road.
All right, so I know you've been taking a close look at this bariatric treatment for these brain injuries.
Right.
Joe Namath has benefited from this. Tell us a little bit more about this aspect.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy basically has been used for depression or compression sickness for the bends, but they're now using it to treat Alzheimer's. They're treating other conditions with it. Joe Namath who turned out to be an old golfing buddy of his, Dr. Lee Fox, who is running a hyperbaric oxygen therapy center in South Florida, and talked to him after he was having some memory problems about the benefits. He decided to volunteer to go through this process, and he became the first patient. Had extraordinary success, not only in terms of his memory recall, his thinking ability, but I actually saw the brain scans that they did of Joe Namath before and after the treatment. You can see areas of the brain that appeared to be dead, dormant, as a result of the injuries. He had 5 concussions at least that we know about. And the after scans showed that those areas had lit up, more blood flow, more activity. So it's very, very promising. Could be a game changer.
So not yet a mainstream type of treatment, but it definitely gaining in favor.
Absolutely. And in fact, what they hope to do is they're building on Joe's his own work and his own experience, and they're trying to enroll about 100 other individuals who have brain injuries to see if hyperbaric oxygen therapy will work for them as well in a new FDA clinical trial.
All right, so we just talked about how Joe Namath got involved in this kind of a happenstance type of situation, but talk to us a little bit more about how this works. We know that these hyperbaric chambers, when somebody has the bends after a scuba diving accident, it increases the amount of pressure so that their blood normalizes, and then it comes back up to a normal level at sea level. But how does this work for your brain?
They put individuals, the patients get into these little pressurized chambers. They look like little tiny spaceships, and they just pump them full of pure medical grade oxygen. And what it does is the oxygen raises the level of oxygen that the brain is getting, and some of these cells which die, or they don't quite die, they are essentially, were described to me as a kind of functional dormancy. They go dormant, and the oxygen kind of reawakens them. They're not quite sure how it works, but increased blood flow, increased oxygen allow those areas of the brain to kind of return to function. And as Joe himself says, his memory has returned. He was able to come up with words that he had trouble finding when he was trying to speak, and his thinking ability became clearer. So they think that the oxygen itself is what's driving that return to normalcy in the brain.
Okay, so it's the oxygen, not necessarily the pressure in the chamber that's really the benefit, or is it a combination of
It's a combination.
Okay.
I think the pressure is helping that oxygen get to those areas of the brain that need it.
All right, fair enough. And what else are you working on for Newsmax Health?
Well, today we're talking about new cancer treatments. If you go to the website, you'll see the full range of things that we're looking at. This has been one of the new exciting things. I mean, I will say about this treatment, a lot of the research that's been done in this area has been about defining the problem. Now we're moving to what can we do about it? If you have it, can you do something about it while you can still make the change before it takes you?
That's always an exciting step forward when you start talking about solutions, not just talking about the problems. Nick Tate, thanks so much for being with us. And to get more info from Nick, you can check out his book, The Baby Boomer Financial Survival Guide, or actually the Baby Boomer Survival Guide in general, but lots of tips in there about finance, health, and other aspects as well. You can get that by going to babyboomers711.com. Again, that's babyboomers711.com. More to come here on Newsmax Now. We'll be back with Miranda Kahn and a look at some other stories making headlines today.